Alright guys, so it's time to do the remote battery charging standoffs in the Cub Challenger. They came in last week actually, but with that snowstorm I'm a little behind on everything. So anyway, this is the brand that I've got. Amazon, of course. I think they were right around $40. The hole that I'm going to need to drill through the panel on the Cub is 1.25 inches, might get it, but that's going to be snug, so hopefully I've got something to drill 1 3/8 inches, and that should work just fine. I thought that I had an old pair of jumper cables around, and that's what I was going to use to connect all this up, but I don't. So what I'm going to wind up using is I have a bunch of this 8-3 wire when I ran power into the workshop. And this is going to be fine for what I intend to do. If you're going to be jump starting other vehicles and stuff like that, I would recommend something definitely heavier, or just hooking up the jumper cables, letting it charge for 10 minutes before you try to start the other vehicle, and disconnecting the jumper cables prior to trying to start the other vehicle. But for just hooking a battery charger up to this, or jumping a small vehicle like the Cub Cadet, this is going to be just fine. I'm going to use heat shrink butt connectors since it's going to be out in the weather, so to speak. I don't want to have any issues with corrosion. That makes for a weak connection, causes heat, and heat is bad, you know, in electrical anyway. I guess it's good in the Bahamas, but... So of course I'm not going to need the ground, so we'll just cut that out of here. And I'm just going to put these together right now for the standoff ends, and then I will figure out how long I need to go from the battery to where I'm going to put the these standoffs. So we'll strip these down, and yeah, that's pretty good heavy copper. So I'm pretty sure that, like I said, for what I'll be doing, this is going to be just fine. We'll run a little heat shrink down here. This is going to be too big for these wires, but I got miles of this stuff. I don't have the correct size. I've used it all and just haven't replaced it yet. So, like I said, we're going to get the one end put together, and then we'll move out to the Cub and get the other end measured up and squared away. And you want to make sure you've got a really good tight crimp on all your butt connectors. I always give them a little pull, just to make sure they don't slide right off. If they do, obviously you've got to redo it and do it better the next time. So yeah, I squeeze like there's no tomorrow. Okay, so we're good here. And obviously black is negative and white is going to be the positive. That's how I'm going to do it anyway. That's kind of commonplace. White's technically the neutral, and black is the positive, or the power on, you know, AC voltage. But I'm going to keep black with a negative on this because that's common on DC voltage. And I'm pretty sure that just these connectors will make more than adequate seal against the weather. But yeah, we're gonna shrinky dink them up here anyway. And like I said, I know this is not going to shrink down enough to make a nice seal on the wire, but it's better than nothing. They reach a certain point, you can heat them until they burn, and you're not going to get a much smaller shrink. So we'll probably just put a wire tie, a small wire tie on the ends here around the wire. Again, just to try to keep out moisture and yuck, dirt. We don't want corrosion ever. It's inevitable, I know, but we'll do the best we can. And we'll throw a couple little wire ties on there while it's hot, and it will compress well because it's going to stiffen up a little bit once it cools down. Trim off the tags, and that's it. We're good here. And these will fit over the stud, which looks like a 3/8. Might be a 5/16, but no. So the studs on this particular brand are 3/8, and I am going to use a couple of washers. I'm going to put a flat washer here just to make sure I have a nice connection, and then I can tighten the nut down. I should probably put another washer on that. And this is how it's going to wind up going. Of course, I've got the black on the white, and I said I wasn't going to do that. Well, we're not putting it together yet. We're just showing you what's going on. I'm going to go get the Cub and get the battery exposed, and we'll be back here in a second. All right, so we're out at the Cub, obviously, and I looked at a couple of different locations and decided to go here. The reason for that is you need to get behind wherever you're mounting them to attach your hold down nuts. And this is a spot that I already measured it. It'll clear the handle for the bed dump. It's wide open back here, and you can go through this hole here. Boy, it's really bright out. I'm really hoping that. Okay, through this hole here, come out through the back, and I'll show you all this as we go along. But I've measured the spacing because you don't want to drill your holes too close together, otherwise they're not going to fit. And we're going to be good right here with what I measured. Now you can get a level, you can get crazy and measure this out, or you can eyeball it like I'm going to. Just make sure you're right, because once you drill this, there's no coming back. You know, there is coming back, but you're going to have two gaping holes in your panel. So there's 1, 2. And I happen to have a Flossner bit that is 1 3/8, and it should blow right through this because it's just plastic. So that's that. Our holes are in place, and incidentally, the length of the wire that I decided on is 45 inches. And pretty much I want to make sure there's a lot of extra so that if I ever have to do a repair, I don't have to replace the wire. I got plenty to just cut and put a new end on, whatever the case may be. So I think we're going to put the red one here because it's far away from the frame. And if there's a problem with something chafing, which I highly doubt, but if there is a problem, the chafe side will be the ground and it won't matter. And it's a little tight to get in here, especially if you're not double jointed. Alright, so now that they're in, I'm going to tighten down the lock nut with a pair of needle nose. Alright, so that should be good. My 2 flat washers that I spoke about, I'm going to put them on the back of the standoffs. Everything seems to be brass. If it's real brass, that's a good thing. because I really won't have to worry about corrosion so much. Alright, then I'm going to put on my wires, and we're going to tuck them down so they're out of the way as much as possible. Last thing you want is a direct battery wire getting caught on something that's going to ground it out. Then you're going to need insurance. These nuts are 9/16. However, 14 millimeter will work as well. This is like the original Grease movie. What did, who the heck was the girl in that movie? The singer from Australia. Feel Your Way. Now we'll tighten them down. And I'm not going to do it in the video because I don't want to get my hands all gooey at the moment. But I'm going to cover all of that with some dielectric grease. Again, it's just a corrosion inhibitor. Olivia Newton-John. Alright, they're good and tight. And now what I'm going to do is, like you saw on the bench inside, I'm going to strip these down and connect them white to positive on the battery and black to negative. So I won't pain you through watching that, but that's what we're going to do next. Alright, so we're all connected now. So if I've done this right, I should have the same voltage out in the standoffs as I do at the battery. So hopefully that shows up. 12.48 volts. Now let's move out to the standoffs. So we're good. This will work. Alright, so let's do just a recap here. 8-gauge wire, household wire. I've used shrink wrap just to keep things neat and protected. This is inside, so I'm not going to bother wire tying the ends down. Should be fine. I left enough slack in case I have to make repairs. I can actually come all the way out to here and connect this way if I had to. So yeah, I've got more than enough for repairs. I went through this hole here outside, came up through here, and I'm going to tuck this in a little bit better before it's all said and done. I mounted the standoffs. Let me get back a little so you have a better idea where. Driver's side, of course. And it's just a matter of preference, negative forward. You can do it any way you want, obviously. And it just clears the handle for the dump bed. See, there's just enough room down there. Which is fine because I always grab the handle here anyway. So as long as you have your caps on, you're good to go. Dag, it's hot out today, man. That thing is charged up. So yeah, pull these off. Jump start your machine. Check your voltage, check your alternator, charge your battery, help out somebody else without having to pull your seat and your battery cover. So that's about it, really. I'm going to put the dielectric grease, this stuff here, Permatex, on the back side of these. Slather it up real good. And this should last an incredibly long time. So guys, just wanted to bring you along. I know I said I would, and in case this helps somebody out. Pretty easy, didn't take too long, didn't cost too much. I'll leave a link below for these standoffs where I got them on Amazon. But you guys enjoy your day, and it's Monday, April 25th, 2022. The next video I'm going to make is jerry-rigging my falling apart seat. That'll probably be one day this week. Alright guys, take care and we'll talk soon.